Right now, let's turn to stuff that does matter, cost of living, bailing out multi-billion-pound companies. Mark Littlewood is Director General of the Institute for Economic Affairs. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Julia. Good to be with you.
Thank you very much. Sorry to keep you waiting. We just got that report. We weren't quite sure. When people say something's out at 9 on the dot, it often isn't. So had you standing by, very kind of you to do so. Lots of talk about the government wanting, not wanting to, being forced to do some sort of bailout of Thames Water. £40 billion worth of debt, but they've sent £72 billion overseas to Canadian pension funds, Abu Dhabi, the state-owned Chinese investment company. Should 1 penny of taxpayers' money go towards Thames Water?
Good question, Julia. I mean, you've obviously got to keep the water flowing, right? This is the classic example of an essential service, making sure water can get to people. But to take the inference of your question, the first people who need to take a hit here are the shareholders. There's no question of the shareholders shouldn't be bailed out at all. If you have bought shares in a company that fails, I'm afraid you lose your money. So even if these people have received dividends previously, and even if those dividends shouldn't have been paid, the first thing that should collapse to zero, if necessary, is the share price.
And can we at that point then say, fine, we'll just take it back, you lose all your money, debt's written off, something Angela Knight, former CEO of Energy UK, suggested could be done, and then the state owns Thames Water for free?
Well, I'm not sure whether it's for free. And you don't want the state owning it for a particularly long period of time.
Why not?
Well,
it's a natural state monopoly. It's a public vital good. Why shouldn't the state own it and control it?
Because the state can't run a bath, basically.
Well, you say that, but Michael Jacobs, a former Labour advisor, pointed out to us earlier that it's Scottish Water, which is still publicly owned. People have had lower bills, there's been more investment spent, and they've got a better environmental record.
Yeah, but there is a useful feature about these things being subject to market pressures. Of course, Thames Water looks like it's on the brink of collapse, but it at least has competitive pressures. People need to decide whether they are going to invest their money in it or not. Pension funds need to decide, are we going to invest
Well, of course you're going to invest your money in Thames Water when you're just going to be getting massive payouts and then go, oh, it's not my problem when it all fails.
Well, I'm afraid you're not going to be getting massive payouts. If you have invested your money in Thames Water, I think you're in for a fairly deep shock now, Julia. You probably
I hope they are.
A different company.
But why do we want our water, the most vital good there is after air, for goodness sake, why do we want it partly owned by the China Investment Company or Abu Dhabi?
Well, that's a reasonable question if you think there are security issues involved here, and obviously the whole issue around China and
I don't think that my water supply should be owned by a murderous, tyrannical state. I don't.
I've got some sympathy with that, and I think that might apply beyond the water supply, frankly. We've had this whole issue about Chinese can invest in our internet security and those sort of things. So I've got some sympathy about who can legally own shares in companies which are vital for the proper functioning of the United Kingdom. You probably don't want them in enemy hands. I've got some sympathy for that. But whoever you allow the shareholders to be, and even if you wish to exclude the Chinese from being shareholders, it's those shareholders that need to take the hit here. There should not be any taxpayers' money used at all to bail out a single shareholder. The whole hit needs to be those who chose to invest in what now looks like a failed company.
Did we get the worst of both worlds when it came to the privatisation of some of these utilities, but particularly water, this natural monopoly? Because it doesn't matter who provides it, it's the same pipes and it's the same water. I don't get a choice. I'm one of the 1 in 4 households in this country, 15 million households, that has Thames Water as their supplier. That's it. Don't get an option. But we've also got Yorkshire Water and Southern Water also in difficulties, and another couple of others as well. So there's something wrong. It's not just sort of bad management at one company. There's obviously poor regulation and poor way we've done this privatisation, similar to what we did with railway companies. We got the worst of privatisation, which is money being siphoned off in profit and dividends elsewhere and to foreign companies and foreign governments, and we've got the worst of public sector, which has still got a monopoly.
Well, you can't. You're right about the monopoly, the pseudo-monopoly status of these things. I suppose theoretically you can have competition in the supply of water, but it's rather difficult. That's not really the case for privatisation here, though, Julia. The worry is if it's run by the state and things go wrong, just more money's thrown at it. Efficiencies aren't necessarily found.
It couldn't. I mean, how much worse could a company be run than Thames Water, looking at their
but the
books
great
now.
thing here is that it looks like, when a company in the private sector is run badly, it goes pop and it is replaced by some sort of new management, new structure that you hope will run it better. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen in the state sector. When things are run badly in the state sector, they just continue to be run badly in the state sector. So privatisation and free markets do not guarantee you that no business will ever go bust. Doesn't guarantee you that every business will be perfectly well run. What it does guarantee you is if a business isn't well run, it will go bust and there will be a change. And that's a feature of the market economy that you don't find in the state sector.
Yeah, the trouble is, a supermarket goes bust, Asda goes bust, we go to Morrison's, we go to Lidl, we don't have an option. Thames Water goes bust, I still need to have my water, as does everybody else. Mark Littlewood, great to talk to you. Really appreciate you joining us. At 9:21 is the time.